think I'll never forget Kennedy Airport.
Really? Especially if you left from Shannon, because that's a tiny airport.
It just scared me so bad, you know. Couldn't wait to see my brother, you know, out there. It was, you know, it was tough. That was tough. And just everything was so overwhelming, you know, at the airport.
And what time of the year was it that you arrived?
Winter, February 1st, yeah.
Snow on the ground?
Oh, yes, a lot of it.
That was a surprise?
A lot of snow. Well, he had told me before I arrived. Yeah. Yeah, I imagine Kennedy Airport and the city, you know, it was a lot to take in.
Yeah. Do you remember the first thing you bought here when you got here?
Don't really. I remember my brother taking me out and, you know, treating me to, you know, going for interviews and treating me to some nice clothes.
Yeah.
It's just nice.
Yeah. Where did you go and buy them? You went someplace to buy the clothes?
I remember him taking me to Alexander's on Fordham Road.
Yes. Oh, wow.
It was there forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Macy's, of course, when we went into the city.
Oh, my gosh. That must have been amazing to go into Macy's.
Oh, yeah. We loved it. And everyone that came over, we would have to take them to Macy's.
Take them to Macy's, yeah, to let them shop.
Mm-hmm.
That store still confuses me. I don't know.
Beautiful store.
Yeah, it is a beautiful store, yeah. And how was your first summer here?
That was hard because I wasn't used to... We never had humidity in Ireland. I mean, and if you got to 70, 75 degrees, that was warm.
Yeah.
And so that was I'd say that was worse than the first winter.
Yeah. It takes a while for your body to get acclimated.
It does.
That kind of thing.
It does.
And how soon after you got here did you go back home? How long were you here before you got your first visit back?
Probably about 18 months.
Wow, that was a long time. Huh?
Yeah, about 18 months.
Yeah.
And because, you know, you didn't have the money. It was, you know, you had to work. And then I was going to put myself into night school. I was paying for that. So. Yes.
And what did you go to night school for?
Actually, I did secretarial course. You know, doing typing and shorthand.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And what was your first job that you had when you were over here?
Actually, the very first job I had was at the Helen Keller Foundation for the Blind.
Oh, in the city?
Yeah, in Manhattan.
Wow.
And I worked there until I got the job at the tourist board.
Wow, yeah.
And very interesting.
Yeah, you've had some very interesting jobs.
Very interesting.
Yeah. And then you were a travel agent for
Right. Well, I was doing that until recently. You know, I did that for years. Yeah. And but the Helen Keller Foundation was, you know, it was. I was actually in the actual building, the American Foundation for the Blind, where Helen Keller worked.
Did you meet her?
No, she was dead. I think she died in 1968. I think.
Did you learn sign language?
Well, I had from my sisters. You know, I had known some of the sign language already, but it was Braille. They had. I used to work on the switchboard there. I was a switchboard operator there, and they had all the. Even somebody to come in to relieve me on the switchboard. There was a blind girl that used to work the switchboard.
Wow.
By just
feeling, things. Yeah.
We had the old ones then with the long plugs.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Those days.
What do you think about Ireland and the way it's changed now? When you go back, it's not the same country that you left.
No, not at all. Not at all. But it's changed for the better. It's, you know, it's wonderful to see.
What are the downfalls that you see? Is there any downfalls of the changes that have come?
I just hope it hasn't gone too far, you know, too quick. You know, I hope it continues to stay going the way it is. And a lot of changes.
Like what do you see as changes?
Everything, you know, the beautiful homes, you know, everybody. You don't see the cottages anymore.
Is that good?
I want to see a certain amount of that there. It's nice to go back and see, you know. I hope they can maintain a lot of them. You know, industry is excellent. I mean, they're wonderful jobs. transportation, people taking vacations. I mean, when we were young, we didn't have vacations like they have today.
Yeah. Where would you have gone on a vacation when you were a kid?
There was actually, it wouldn't be a vacation as such. You might get day trips or maybe a weekend trip that you would go on. And we had a place in County Waterford. They called it Tramore. I don't know if you've...
I've heard of Tramore. Yeah.
Right, it's the beach. And to us, that was the biggest treat to get there. But, it wasn't until later years that it became a weekend trip.
Okay, so it would be a day trip?
A day trip, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, now they go on vacations, they go all over Europe, they go everywhere.
I know. Yeah.
So it's changed.
It's become a much more international country, hasn't
Oh,
it?
indeed. Yeah. But it's nice to see. It's nice, because we tell our kids, especially my husband, tells the kids, well, this is what I had to do. This is, it's very different today.
And you see it as really being improvements too.
Oh, indeed, yeah.
Good plus thing. Do you think any of your kids would ever go back there to live?
I'm not sure. They like to go on vacation there.
Yeah. Well, they have all the family and the friends and everything here too, I suppose.
Right, but they're very close with all their cousins, and they have a very close relationship with their cousins and that. So everyone stays in touch.
Yeah. I suppose that if you went back, what would you miss here most? Well, obviously you'd miss your family.
Your family, yeah.
Kids, your grandchildren, and everybody else are here, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about a lot of things, but I have to ask you before we close, is there anything that you were thinking about, when you knew you were going to be sitting down here for an interview with me? Were there things that you want to make sure you talked about? Anything that you were thinking about that you want to make sure we get here?
No, I think you've done a pretty good job, Peg.
You think you've said about as much as you can think about? Well, we appreciate you taking the time to come in. And
it's just for our family and for our kids, and like our grandchildren and down the road. I wish that we had done this. I would have loved to have seen my grandparents have had more information on, on their roots. And they're, but everybody does that now because they all have cameras and they all have video cameras. And it's there, but it wasn't there when we were growing up.
Yeah. Do you have pictures of your grandparents? Do you have? They're probably few and far between.
I have some home. Yeah. Oh, I do. Yeah, I have some.
Yeah. It wasn't like it is now. We've got boxes full of pictures. Right,
and you can transfer different. We used to have this big wind-up camera, that we show with the big screen. So. We're promising that we're going to go through that and see if we can resurrect some of our old,
That would be a nice thing to do.
Yeah, because we're very big on family and tradition.
Yeah. Well, certainly you know that about the Curtin family.
Oh,
People do know that about the Curtin family.
They're,
Good family. Well, thank you very much, Anne, for sitting down and spending some time with us and talking to us. And
thank you, Peg.
Letting us into your life.
I was nervous, but you did a very good job.
Not so bad, right?
Thank you.
Okay.